How can we transform teaching and learning? Students are at the center of everything we do. We know that changes, when applied with fidelity, will help young adults graduate from high school equipped with the knowledge and skills essential for success in college and careers. Part of this change means that teaching and learning has to transform. Take a few minutes to reflect on how teaching has changed over the years. How has your role as the teacher changed? Now reflect on how the students have changed. Why do we find that it is harder to reach these students? PBL encourages students to make meaningful connections across content areas, rather than thinking about each subject area in isolation. PBL helps build 21st century skills students need to succeed. Students must be prepared to meet the demands of a global society. Project-based learning supports the 21st century student learning outcomes. As we transform our teaching, we need to begin to think about how our assessments need to also change. Assessments are often aligned to the practice work of the standards being taught in class, but rather ask students to transfer and apply their knowledge. This becomes a PBL lesson. Transferring our teaching helps students build independence while problem solving and thinking critically. If we want students to change the way they think, we have to first start by changing the way we teach. As a Pbl facilitator, your classroom should be collaborative and reflective. It should be in command of the content, should have a model of agency, and is solution-oriented. As a Pbl facilitator, you should frequently ask questions and give assessments. Deliver content in a variety of ways. Communicate your learning targets throughout your project. Plan and prepare in advance. Provide ongoing feedback to students. As a Pbl facilitator, you're not there to answer questions, but to get students to think about what direction they want to go in. When questions arise, you need to take the information they give you and help them apply it to find the answer. There are many misconceptions about projects and project-based learning. People wonder, how can we tell the difference between the two? A project is something that can be done alone. It is often teacher-directed. There's a lack of real-world context. It often occurs after the teaching, and all projects will have the same goal. Project-based learning requires collaboration and teacher guidance. It's about a process. It's student-directed. It's based on real-world experiences and problems. There's real learning that occurs throughout the project, and student choices help determine the outcome. As you can see in the diagram below, the top tells us about a project. Often it begins with a lecture, an activity, a quiz, a lecture, activity, quiz, review, exam, and the final project is presented at the end to show what is learned. Project-based learning is different. In project-based learning, you are learning throughout the project. You start by launching an idea. You get students to engage in authentic tasks, and design helps provide the context for learning. In that, activities, workshops, lectures, homework, research, and labs take place. Students then have a benchmark, which is like an assessment to see how the learning is coming along. Then they will reflect on how things are going. After that, they then shift their thinking into simulations, discussions, modeling, reading, interview, and quizzes, followed by another benchmark. Another chance to reflect. This is when students have the opportunity to start really creating, thinking about what their project is going to become, providing feedback, building, writing, preparing, and drafts. The final project is authentic and it's demonstrated of deeper learning, and a final reflection takes place at the end. If students are learning a topic and providing a project at the end, that is considered a project. Project-based learning is where you select a standard, students begin their research and development, and as that happens, more and more learning takes place. You never quite know for sure where your project-based learning is going to go. A project, on the other hand, always has a final outcome that is similar to many other students.